In ancient Greece, if you died, you went to a place ruled by a god named Hades, cold, gray, bureaucratic, and largely inescapable. In ancient Egypt, you went before Anubis, who weighed your heart against a feather. In Hindu and Buddhist traditions, you faced Yama, who consulted a ledger of every action you'd ever taken. And in certain Hindu traditions, you also had to reckon with Kala, which translates simply as time, a force so absolute it consumes even the gods. Which raises an obvious question. Across all of human mythology, who actually built the most terrifying afterlife? Hi, I'm Mara, and this is Microplanet. The answer depends entirely on what you find most frightening, and comparing these four figures reveals something interesting. Each culture built its underworld around a different fear, not the same fear differently expressed, genuinely different fears about what the worst possible fate actually looks like. Let's start with Hades. Hades is often described as cruel, but that's not quite accurate. He's not malicious, he's impassive. The Greek underworld he rules is not a place of punishment for the wicked specifically. It's a place for everyone. The virtuous go to the Elysian fields, the wicked go to Tartarus, and the vast majority of souls, the ordinary people who lived ordinary lives, go to the asphodel meadows, where they wander in a gray, featureless half-existence, neither punished nor rewarded, simply enduring an eternity of mild, undifferentiated nothing. What makes Hades terrifying isn't the torture, it's the indifference. The Greek underworld is frightening because it suggests that most human lives end in cosmic irrelevance. You weren't good enough for paradise or bad enough for punishment. You were just average, and average lasts forever. Now, Anubis. Anubis is the Egyptian god of embalming and the dead, and his most famous role is the weighing of the heart. When you die, your heart is placed on one side of a scale, and a feather, the feather of Ma'at, representing cosmic truth and justice, is placed on the other. If your heart is heavier than the feather, if it is burdened by dishonesty, wrongdoing, or the failure to live righteously, a creature called Amit is waiting beside the scale. Amit is part lion, part hippopotamus, part crocodile, and her job is to eat your heart. If Amit eats your heart, you cease to exist. Not punishment, not hell, but total annihilation. No afterlife, no second chance. The ancient Egyptian fear was not eternal torment, but eternal erasure. You simply stop being. Now, Yama. Yama appears across Hindu, Buddhist, Jain, and Tibetan traditions in somewhat different forms, but the core of his function is consistent. He is the Lord of Death who judges the dead according to their karma, the accumulated moral weight of every action across every lifetime. In Hindu tradition, his assistant, Chitragupta, maintains an exact written record of every deed, good or bad, that you have ever committed. Nothing is forgotten, nothing is overlooked. The judgment is perfectly accurate. What makes Yama uniquely terrifying isn't cruelty or indifference, it's precision. You are judged not by a fallible human jury, but by a divine accountant who has been writing down everything you've done since the moment you were born. And because Yama operates across multiple lifetimes in the reincarnation framework, the consequences of his judgment aren't just eternal, they shape what you will be in every future existence. Now, Kala. Kala is not quite a god of the dead in the same sense as the others. Kala is time personified, the force that devours all things. In the Mahabharata, Kala appears as a figure that even the gods cannot escape. He is not a judge. He has no scale, no ledger, no underworld to rule. He is simply the principle that everything ends. Gods, universes, the concept of existence itself. What makes Kala uniquely terrifying is the scope. Hades rules the dead. Yama judges the dead. Anubis processes the dead. Kala makes the concept of permanence impossible for anything, anywhere, at any scale.
So, who is the most terrifying? Hades is most frightening if you fear meaninglessness. Anubis is most frightening if you fear erasure. Yama is most frightening if you fear perfect accountability. And Kala is most frightening if you fear the fact that nothing, not even the gods who judge you, will last. Which brings us back to that original question. Every culture built its underworld around what it feared most. The Greeks feared irrelevance, the Egyptians feared oblivion, the Hindus and Buddhists feared perfect cosmic justice with no exceptions and no appeals, and whoever conceived of Kala feared something larger still, the possibility that even the afterlife is temporary. The most terrifying underworld isn't the one with the most fire, it's the one built around whichever fear you recognize most in yourself.